And I think we were going to go to the port, talk a little bit about, the port. Yeah. The port's been a fight since I first came here in '71. Yeah. I mean, it's always been the handful of people that want to hang on to as a traditional port. It can't function as a traditional port. It can't make money as a traditional port. It's not big enough to be a traditional port. The mayor's got some pretty cool ideas about how to keep it a port. I personally would like to keep it a port, but it's just got to have a more realistic mission.
The best use of this waterfront? Well, you kind of, not too many years ago, they made a 20 or 25 year, at least you know a lot about this issue, with the people bringing in cement, because I guess somebody thought that cement dust would be a pretty good thing to have downtown.
Let's not get started about that. That is a subject tonight that we will deal with at the end of this discussion on who we're forgiving.
Oh, really?
It's in that group.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's in that group.
Okay.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, the port has been contentious. The port gets subsidized, and some people say that, well, it's jobs for Pensacola and it's good for us. And other people say that waterfront would be much better used at Pensacola, and it's true, a little better with the Community Maritime Park. Pensacola had this great waterfront that just was not any benefit to the majority of citizens. Okay, so that's the port. Now here's what you find out. The port has some tenants, and the tenants lease space at the Port of Pensacola to store stuff and to use the port. So some revenue comes into the port.
In theory.
So, yeah, in theory. So C.C. Elabash, who keeps up with this stuff, Dr. Elabash is a professor emeritus out here, and he's a finance guy, knows a lot about city finances. We've had him on the show, and he's just a very useful citizen to have, asking good questions. So he wrote a letter to Dick Barker, who is the finance director for the city, and this is really a democracy. You can ask questions of officials and they have to answer you, because we've got the it's not exactly freedom of information. It's a different name, but it's in open records and stuff. So he wrote an email that said, well, last time I knew, some of the tenants at the port were way behind. What's going on now? So these are the numbers.
Way behind in rent.
Way behind in rent, yeah. And here's one of the tenants. Offshore Inland Marine. As of September 30th, the balance was $200,399.98. So
that's one.
That's one. Now, but as of 10/15, only a couple of weeks later, they had the balance down to $84,319.02. So they're delinquent on their rent by $84,000.
All right.
Northwest Florida Cold Storage, as of 9/30, it's a bigger number. The balance was $228,305.94, but as of 10/15, they've got it paid down to only, they're in arrears, $178,305.94. What do you take from that? Now, these are figures from the city of Pensacola. This is the straight stuff. What do you take from that?
Well, if I was running the city of Pensacola, I would not send the message, which they are sending through the finance department, well, we'll let you slide because we don't have many options, and we are desperate for money, and if you're behind, we'll kind of wink and nod and we'll look the other way. Now, sometimes with a good tenant, somebody who's been there for years, somebody's paid, fairly and on time for years, done a good job, you cut them some slack. I don't know about either one of these tenants. That might be the case. But just based on what you said, I think you send a letter and you say this: pay up, you're in default. You send them a formal notice of default if they are in default, and you tell them, you pay up and here are the terms. You don't pay up, we're kicking you out. Okay? This is a business. This is our business. Okay. We're taxpayers. We own it.
And you can kick them out, and then if you've got damages, if you can't rent it, then for the you can sue them in court, and arguably you have a claim for all the money you've lost because they were in default. But if it's a business that's on the edge, whatever rent they're paying, you may just lose, and you may have an empty space down there at the port. Maybe that's the consideration. Huh?
It's easy to second guess it because we're not there. You're not dealing with it every day.
Right.
All I know is this: the port honestly has a poor record of fiscal management, in my opinion, and it goes back to the movers and shakers on the city council who controlled that port for years. Why they did what they did is a mystery of all times. I don't know that anybody will ever understand some of the stupid and foolish things that city council people did year in and year out. For example, the cement lease. Okay, the cement lease. They leased it to, ostensibly, to somebody from Alabama who was related to Bear Bryant. Okay, that was his claim, that he was a valid
related
citizen.
To Bear Bryant,
right?
It must be okay.
Yeah, sure, related to Bear Bryant. The only problem was they so poorly drafted the lease, was just incompetently drafted, that there was no provision that prevented an assignment. And so they ended up, this person that got this lease assigned it and flipped it to a multinational company. We had no control over that. We couldn't stop it. And so hence...
And made some money on flipping it, which the city arguably could have had by leasing it to those other people in the first place.
Exactly. It was the city's money that was given away. That's a fact. To this day, we've mentioned this program before, the people who are responsible for this have never said publicly, we apologize to the city, we apologize to the citizens for what we did. We never received any financial remuneration. I'm not suggesting that they did. It'd be good for them to say that. We never benefited at all. We were just stupid, and we should never have done it, and we got talked into a complete boondoggle. That would be nice if that was forthcoming. Now, here's my offer, okay? If they say that, I'll forgive them. I can't offer an unconditional forgiving in this. I got to hear from them first that they apologize for what they did to the citizens.
Do you forgive them on behalf of the whole city?
Yes,
yeah?
I can.
Can you?
I can, yes.
Where does the authority come from to offer forgiveness? I know about the Pope.
Well, it's kind of a class action type forgiveness, for
That's
which
very nice of you.
I'm empowered to do that in behalf of the class. And the class is the citizens of the community.
Boy.
And I will do that, but I need to hear from them. We're sorry, we were stupid, we were conned, we made a terrible mistake, and we really, really hurt the city financially. If they will say that, this is the offer to you boys, if you will say that, I'll forgive you on behalf of the citizens. That's the offer.
Nice of you.
Yeah,
Can you forgive speeding tickets?
No, I can't.
Oh.
I'm not involved. I'm not
You're not doing me anyway.
I'm not involved in petty forgiveness.